Asian stereotypes makes no sense. In high school, this Mexican kid called me a chink and Bruce Lee in the same sentence. And the reason why he was so angry was because I did something bad to him, which we will discuss later in the video, but almost instantly, he judged me based on my appearance. Asian guy with glasses, and teachers would do the exact same thing, grouping me into this smart kid identity. And what people fail to realize is how you view yourself today is not based on your life experiences and who you have become, but what has been assigned to you. You don't get to choose who you are because it has already been determined by your race, family, gender, religion, and people like to pretend that Asian stereotypes makes no sense, but the teacher was right. I am smart. You're Bruce Lee! At the time, I did karate, competed in high school wrestling, 4 other sports at varsity level. Stereotypes do make sense and very controversial, but nonetheless, people live up to the expectations that are given to them. Really think about it and how your identity shapes your future actions. Because I view myself as an Asian person, which by the way, I didn't get to choose. I didn't get to choose the family I was born in. It could have been a white family, so I become much more whitewashed. I didn't get to choose, and because I don't have control over it, it doesn't matter. I see too many people complaining about what they were born with. Oh, my parents suck. Oh, it's because I'm this race. Oh, it's because of my hair color. You can't control it, so who cares? The only thing you can control is how much you choose to like yourself. And here's the thing, your identity is a big factor into the decisions you will make. Because if I view myself as an addict who suffers with alcohol, it will easily be simpler if I just drink the alcohol, because that's who I am. And it is significantly more difficult to cut off a piece of who you are to change. This is the reason why many people who are addicted, the best way to overcome that addiction is not to stop the action, but instead, at its roots and core, change how you view yourself. You are no longer an addict, you're a person who's trying to change and be better. Identity plays a very large role in how you choose your actions. And I live in California, I'm Asian, and there's this stereotype that a lot of us go to raves. We love EDM music, we love going half naked. Guess what? I guarantee you half of them do not like to do that. And by the way, the stereotype is true. Almost all the Asian people I do know have gone to a rave. And why is that? It's not because everyone just loves those activities, but because I've associated myself in this group, and there's this assumption that because I'm just like them, that I probably by association will also like raving. But here's the thing. Too many people fall into the trap of assuming that I have this identity, I am part of this group, so I must do what this group does. And if people are wondering why I did karate, I am not fucking kidding. It's because I watched YouTube videos, I learned about the racism, the stereotypes that I'm supposed to know karate. And I told my mom, I want to know karate because that's the expectation people have upon me. And when I entered middle school, I was actually a very bad kid in elementary. I would get into fights. I almost got suspended for getting into so much trouble. But middle school came around and I started learning about all these expectations I have upon this little Asian kid. I'm supposed to be good at math. I'm supposed to have really good grades. And unsurprisingly, I naturally conform to what people expect of me.
Come on, do math.
Obviously, I've grown up and I'm much more than just my stereotypes. At the same time, I am not resentful of all the stereotypes that I had to live up to. People have the conversation that all stereotypes are bad, even the good and bad ones. But let's be fucking honest, all right? I'm really grateful that I felt the pressure to get good grades. I'm really grateful that I felt the pressure to know combat sports because I felt the need to live up to them. It made my life better, right? And majority of these stereotypes pushed me in the right direction. And I can't speak on what bad stereotypes are for other types of people, but I do know that obviously if there is an expectation that I should act this way and it's a bad action, then people are going to act that way, especially children. It is not beneficial. And most of the time, people get stuck in the cycle of never even realizing that the only reason why you view yourself, you have this identity was because you were given to it as a child. A lot of people don't have the choice in what family they are brought up in, the culture they are in, how they are fed as children. Fun fact, most people who grow up fat will stay fat for the rest of their lives. And I guarantee you, a large reason why this happens is because they have identified themselves their entire lives. They can't see themselves as skinny. I'm a fat person, so I will always eat foods that I like to enjoy. It is my coping mechanism. It is such an integral part into who they are that, by the way, they didn't even get to choose. So here's the conversation I think is even more important. What are the things that I do on a consistent basis that I don't even like doing? How much of my identity was given to me rather than something I slowly learned that is just me? So this final story of the Mexican kid calling me a chink and Bruce Lee was because I would always cut people in the lunch line. The lunch is 30-minute break, and I'm not gonna spend 15 minutes at the end of the line waiting for food. I've done it before. It's a complete waste. And I realized that there are these groups of people, introverted people, that are complete pushovers. They'll let you do anything to them. I mean, like, in the context of, I would walk up to them, say, hey, what's up? And then they say, hey, what's up? And they do nothing else. I stand right behind them. There are other people behind the line, and they're making the assumption that I already know this person, so it's cool that I cut the line. And finally, there was this Mexican kid, the first time ever where someone talked shit, was like, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? I turn around, I look at him. I turn back around, I wait in front of other people to get the food. Everything was extremely awkward because I also know a little bit of, like social games. Anywho, it must have taken a lot of courage for that person to call me out. I made them feel extremely awkward, but not giving them a reaction they wanted. I got my food and I left. Nothing happened because I knew based on stereotypes, the person's build, the way they looked, they were not gonna do anything. And there are very smart people who are already aware of this. There are many exceptions to all the stereotypes I pointed out, and those people are known as contrarians. People are aware of all the expectations people put onto them. You can see this in other celebrities like Sneeko, where people expect you to do a certain thing. And because they expect me to do a certain thing, I will actually do the exact opposite. But that is equally as predictable as someone who's bounded by their own identity. I knew so many Asian kids who knew that their expectation was to get good grades. And because of that, they chose to self-sabotage their entire lives. I'm like, bro, why aren't you locking in? Why aren't you trying to become better, get better grades? This is important. They're like, nah, it isn't important, bro. That's what people tell you to do. But then again, even if people don't tell me to get good grades, it's still important to develop skills long term. They were choosing to self-sabotage their own lives because there were expectations upon them. And it's very complex. Just realize that your identity is a tool and equally a catalyst for your success. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, check out my Patreon for a 30-minute analysis of this video and the practical uses of identity and how you can use it to push forward your life.